Klay Thompson has long been known as one of the greatest NBA shooters of all time. It just so happens that he's also played alongside arguably the best shooter to ever grace the court, Steph Curry. The two of them have dominated other teams for years now. So in today's video, we're going to be covering a few of the most impressive moments from Klay Thompson's career, and some of them might just surprise you. Number 10. The debate between who was the best shooter in the league got even more intense after Klay Thompson put on a show during the 2016 three-point contest. Of course, everybody expected Steph Curry to come out and win this one, especially because he dropped 23 points in the championship round against Klay. Thompson didn't buckle underneath the pressure though, and he wound up dropping 27 points in that round to walk away as the champ, defeating his teammate. That score actually became the most points ever scored in a single round of the three-point competition, though it was broken a few years later by Devin Booker at 28, and even more recently was broken by Karl Anthony Towns of all people. Number 9. This moment was almost as impressive as the other one due to his long journey back onto the floor. Klay suffered serious leg injuries in back-to-back seasons to keep him off the court for an extended period of time. He had to fight to get back onto the floor, and when he did, he was able to do this. Check it out. Some people aren't even able to do that at all on the court, yet here's Klay Thompson posterizing two Cleveland Cavaliers defenders in his first game back from those devastating injuries. He also put the moves on Jarrett Allen, hitting a nice crossover to maneuver around him and get into the lane. Number 8. This one came when he was still a relatively young player in the league. The Golden State Warriors were taking on the Indiana Pacers on this particular night. The score was tied up at 96, and the Warriors decided to let Klay work one-on-one for the final shot of the contest. Here's how it all went down. Klay knew immediately when he received the ball here that he had the advantage, and after a bump or two, he hit a beautiful turnaround jumper to seal the game. It was even more impressive that he did so with under a second remaining, leaving such little time for the Pacers to come back with an answer of their own. Number 7. Relentless effort usually always impresses the fans and the coaches watching the game, and that's exactly why this play made it onto our list. Klay and the Warriors were down by 1 point with under 10 seconds left in a game against the Sacramento Kings. Klay had the ball and started to drive into the lane. Take a look at what happened next. Even though he went up and missed the first layup attempt pretty badly, he stayed with the shot and powered through another defender to get a second chance shot to go up and in. Thompson then let the Kings players know that he meant business with a bit of a flex right afterwards. The Warriors went on to win that game thanks to Thompson's big-time bucket. Number 6. Sometimes you just can't miss. Obviously, that's been said quite a number of times when talking about Klay Thompson. This next impressive moment came back in the 2018 season. Klay and the Warriors were playing the Los Angeles Lakers. The Warriors blew them out, and Klay dropped 44 points. However, the most impressive stat line of the night was that Klay hit all 10 of his first 10 three-pointers in that contest before finally missing one late in the game. Nobody had ever hit that many consecutive three-point jump shots in a single game like that until this moment. The only other person to tie this record in NBA history is Ty Lawson. Number 5. The 2018 Western Conference Finals. A big-time what could have been for the Houston Rockets here due to the injury that Chris Paul suffered in this series. However, this wound up being a more impressive moment for the Warriors. They were down 3-2 in the series and about to play that critical Game 6. Klay Thompson came into the match on fire and carried it out the rest of the way. He hit 9 of his 14 shot attempts from deep and finished with a game-high 35 points. The Warriors wound up winning that game, forcing a Game 7 and going on to win the series. Later on, they would of course go to the NBA Finals and win the championship. And it all might not have happened if it weren't for Klay's masterful performance when his team needed him the most in Game 6. Before we head on to this next moment, make sure to take a minute and smash our subscribe button. Otherwise, Klay Thompson might come around and light up your favorite team for 35+ points. Number 4. Steph Curry broke a record for most three-pointers made in a single game at 13. He held on to that record for a little while before Klay Thompson came around. The Warriors were playing the Chicago Bulls here, and Thompson wasn't messing around at all. The dude stepped onto the court and instantly started raining three-pointer after three-pointer. He ended up finishing the game with 52 points, but the biggest headline was that he broke Curry's record with 14 made triples in the contest. Of course, the Warriors easily won that game too, 149-124. Number 3. There seem to be a few stat lines in NBA history that you just can't believe unless you see it with your own eyes. And that was exactly the case with this next impressive Klay Thompson moment. It came back in December of 2016. The Warriors were playing against the Indiana Pacers again. Klay must have been a man possessed on this night because he had a jaw-dropping 60-point performance here to help his team clean up the Pacers 142-106. The craziest part about this night wasn't even the number of points he scored either, it was actually the amount of time it took for him to do it. He scored 60 points against the Pacers in just 29 minutes of action on just 11 total dribbles. That's not a typo or an error, dude. He was actually just that hot throughout this entire game, and the ball barely touched the floor. Number 2. Big-time players make big-time plays. You always hear that saying no matter what sport you're watching, but in this case, Klay Thompson came to play on the biggest stage for this specific game. It was Game 6 of the 2016 Western Conference Finals. This time the Warriors were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, featuring Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Golden State was on the brink of elimination and needed somebody to have a terrific game to stay alive. Thompson immediately came to the rescue. He dropped a game-high 41 points on 11 made three-pointers. He was the sole reason that they were able to force a Game 7, a game that they would eventually go on to win, making it to the NBA Finals. Sadly, though, that was the season they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals, but this moment was huge nonetheless. Number 1. You really can't top this moment no matter how hard you try. It was the middle of a regular season game between the Warriors and the Kings. The year was 2014, and Thompson gave the Kings players a memory they will never forget. Klay dropped 52 points in the game to help his team get the win, but what was insane was that he scored 37 of those points in just the third quarter. Yeah, you heard that right. He shot a perfect 13 for 13 on all his shot attempts from the field, including hitting all 9 of his three-pointers. He broke the record for most threes made in just one quarter and broke the record for most points scored in a single quarter. This moment was so impressive that even Klay Thompson himself didn't know what had happened. After the game, he said, "That was crazy. I don't know what happened. I've never shot like that." This is a moment that's gone down in history and one that we get reminded of every single year on the exact date that it happened. And with that, we wrap up today's video on the times that Klay Thompson impressed the world. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one that appears on your screen, because YouTube thinks it's the one you're going to want to watch next.